Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans.
Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by.
Now, here's JP.
All right, I'm back. My voice is not, though. Back from Canton, Ohio. Football heaven, the Rondé Barber induction, and the party that will forever go down as the greatest, the Hall of Fame party ever. No question about that. We'll give you all the details, as much as we could actually say, as we roll through here today on a Monday. So much to get to. We got practice this morning. I was out of Buccaneers practice this morning. A little dust up. Not shocking development. Luke Gedeke was in the middle of that, getting after Devin White, who will speak today. Finally, the silence will be broken. Interesting. Boy, has he had a quiet camp, too. Like, has done very little
That's
to be noticed, which is probably a good thing.
I was going to say, that was interesting. I heard a lot of stories last week, at least on Friday's practice when I was there, that he's been having a very quiet camp, but a good camp overall.
I don't know if it's good if you're quiet, you're not making any plays, but it's hard. It's hard for a linebacker to make plays. And good morning to you, Nick Geddes, from On3 Sports, straight off your George Strait fiasco.
Fiasco?
Was it a fiasco? You were just telling me all the things that went wrong with it.
Well, I mean, just a few things that were taking place in front of me. I got hit with everything that's wrong about concerts nowadays. Got hit with everything, but no, the concert itself.
Mr. Judgmental.
Very judgmental. Very judgmental. But
coming up.
Listen, I just don't think you should be, tonguing your girlfriend in the middle of a George Strait concert, in the middle and right in front of me.
You get a romantic song
for like 2 minutes.
It kind of hits you a certain way.
Here's the thing, though.
I don't have a
Here's the thing, though. It wasn't a romantic song. It was during a rendition of Poncho and Lefty that George Strait and Chris Stapleton did together,
listen,
and we felt the need to go tongue each other during that.
Maybe that was a special moment between these two that, something was consummated at that particular time.
I doubt it.
Poncho and Lefty was playing. And so you don't know.
And then they had the audacity to leave the concert early, too.
Oh, well.
The audacity to leave the concert early when the king is on the stage.
Wow. Maybe they were trying to get a closer look.
I guess so. But it was fantastic, and I almost shed a tear.
Well, we'll see. That's good.
So we both had a great Saturday night, I think.
Oh, my gosh. Incredible. We'll get to all that. We'll try to get you the Devin White Live. We're going to give you some pieces of the Rondé Barber speech with a little bit of analysis maybe on it as well. What a weekend it was up in Canton, Ohio. And, on a personal level, to spend it with my son, Cullen, who Rondé has been so kind to as he was growing up, writing him letters about playing football and just being a good family friend. He still calls him Cully to this day. And so that was great to be able to do that. And I think, for my son to be along while – because he was too young when Rondé was playing, I think, to really understand. He won the Super Bowl. He was 4 years old. To understand all these, the Brad Johnsons and the John Lynches and the Rich McKays and all the people I was talking to and talking to him as well. And that was what was really fun about that particular party is that it was all Buccaneers, It was all Buccaneers. Johnny Lynch's party was, he played for the Broncos and was working for the 49ers, so it was a lot of different stuff there. But this was all Buccaneers. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. CeeLo Green was unbelievable. He was so good. And if you're a fan of James Brown, as I am, and CeeLo's, that's his kind of his vibe, and the horn section and Rondé, we're dancing with CeeLo till 2:00 in the morning, and all the friends and family that were there. It was just, and the venue was unbelievable. I think the Glazers cut the check for this. Had to be a $250,000 party. Had to be.
$250,000?
Had to be. Well, CeeLo alone's got to be $100,000.
Free booze, I'd assume.
It was in this place called the Still House, which is this brand new kind of country spa, and they've got a big spa place and a still house and kind of boutique hotels and horseback riding and all this. And the still house was just beautifully appointed. You walk in, and it's this beautiful, gorgeous bar and a huge living room almost, very kind of dimly lit, but very expensive, heavy leather furniture, and they had the bar there and just food like, prime rib, chicken saltambuco, this unbelievable food, and dessert, this huge dessert thing. And then in the still house where they make their own bourbon. And they make this bourbon. I'm not a big bourbon drinker, but they had to make this one bourbon that they cure in a rum barrel, in a sugar rum barrel. So it has these really great notes of dark rum, which is what I drink on the rocks. And so it was like, wow, this is like a perfect marriage of the two. So yeah, Cullen and I wrecked a lot of that. We wrecked a lot of that. That was really, and they make their own spiced rum too, which was also fantastic. We had a lot.
So, like, did every Hall of Famer, I presume, had their own party then?
Yeah.
How it worked out?
Parties, yeah. And there were a bunch of Hall of Famers that came in and, spent a lot of good time with Mike Allstott and John Lynch and Brad Johnson and talking with all these guys.
I love, like, some of the names that I was seeing that was there. It's guys that I haven't really I haven't said their names out of my mouth in a long time. Like a Brian Kelly was there.
Yes,
I saw
Brian Kelly, Corey Ivy,
Donald Penn was there. I believe.
Donald Penn was there.
Who I think is still a big dude.
Oh,
I didn't see like
he's still huge.
He still looks like he's
not one of those guys that slimmed down.
He didn't Joe Thomas it, did he?
No, he is humongous.
By the way, I'm not saying that in a making fun way. I'm just pointing it out.
He's not that far removed from playing. He played last year, I think.
Well, he's a little bit. He's a couple years.
Is it a couple years?
Yeah.
I thought he played last year. So he's not, he's not the 4 or 5 years out where they, really slim it down. But whatever. He was there, and so many people there to represent. So many of his old teammates, John Howell, Barrett Ruud, maybe not the biggest names, but guys that he played with. And Claudia, his wife, just did a fantastic job. And, it was funny because I was there with CeeLo, and we're like, 10 yards away from him. And right in front of me was Brian Glazer and his wife. And I'm just gonna hear it say they were kind of getting down. They were kind of getting down with CeeLo. It was like, yeah.
The Glazers were getting down.
Brian was. Joel's very much reserved, but Brian was. Yeah, they were getting down. I chatted with him for a long time. We had great chat and just good people, good family people. We talking. They've got 5 and 6 year old now. He's still living in Tampa and. We're going back to our bachelor days when, before he got married, and we would be at some of the same parties. And we're like, yeah, we had some interesting conversations back in the day. But, and they're such great owners, and I just want to give it up to them. And they've really, befriended Rondé. Rondé's like, one of their, I don't want to say kids because he's their contemporary, more like their brother. And they just have just become such a great partnership, and Rondé's such a big part of the team still and a big part of the community. It was just really one of those moments in time where a lot of the relationships that I've had in my life kind of come together in a very grand way, and it just felt like it was a family party. It was for Rondé was the guest of honor, but it was a family party for that era of Buccaneers football. That 97 to 2010, that whole era. That was interesting, and I thought the speech was fantastic. I thought he really. I don't know what it felt like from your perspective, but from my perspective, I thought he hit a theme of being uncommon. Mm-hmm. That was fantastic. And there was one line in there that he put in there. It was something that I think it was on this show that I said it, and he was like, He goes, I like that. He goes, but and I said, feel free to use that. And it was the line where he said. I said, he did things others could not and would not do.
Yeah, he did say that in there.
Would not do. And that's always been my thing about Rondé is there's so many. You look at Dion, great careers, like he said, and Darrelle Revis, and these guys were made to be pro football cornerbacks.
Right.
He was different. He was uncommon, and he had to do things differently. And he did things, and it wasn't just because, listen, he's a very talented player. He's a very talented player. Faster than you think, way stronger than you think, but between the ears and then what's in the chest, that's what made him really different and made him uncommon. The way he studied tape, his preparation, but more than that, his guts and toughness and willing to do things that other players just would not do because they were either afraid of getting hurt or it would not prolong their career. And interestingly enough, ironically, it's kind of, something that is kind of diametrically opposed, where the tougher you do things, the harder you do things, you think the more injuries you're going to get. It was just the opposite for him. Right. He toughened himself up so much that he was impregnable.
I think he said that too. Not a game missed in like a 16-year stretch.
215 games in a row.
215 games in a row.
And that's for a 5'10", 185-pound guy playing in the box.
Right.
Playing in the box.
Right.
No. Think about that.
Yeah, and
that's not. And people say, well, that's lucky. Of course, there's some luck to it, but that's sheer will.
Yeah.
That's just sheer will.
And when you listen to when he talked too, and he mentioned, he thought he was going to get cut maybe potentially after year 2. He was a free agent after 4 years and had no other options but to stay with Tampa Bay. And then Mike Tomlin came in, and I guess the rest was history after that.
Yeah.
And the significance of that, to be, 371 players have made the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I believe.
And dare I say, not one of them was drafted in the 3rd round and didn't play their first year.
Very rare, I'd assume.
Very rare.
But that's what I'm saying. I thought about it. It's like, I don't have time to do the math and all that, but it's a lot to do. But, you got 90 guys in camp every single year, 32 teams.
Right.
You try to just factor that out and how long the NFL's been around. What is it, 70-something years?
Yeah.
Or no, it's over 100 years, actually. We just did the 100 years.
Canton Hall of Fame, and I saw the documents right there,
Yeah, over 100 years, and 371 players are in the Hall of Fame. That's it.
Yeah.
And for Rondé Barber to be one of those guys, just considering his start and kind of the limitations, I guess, he had coming into the league, it's an insane story, and it doesn't happen without being uncommon and willing to do things that others are not. And so that was kind of like the theme I picked up as well. It felt like somebody who can finally rest. Like they've spent.
I'm done being an angry worker.
Like it felt like he said it. It's like 26 years of trying to convince everybody of what I did and prove people wrong.
Right.
And now it culminated into that moment. So now he can rest.
Yeah.
He's proved everything he needed to. There's nothing else to do anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was probably a level of that celebration at the party where there was just this overarching joy around him and through him that you see. I think it's the first time I've ever kissed another man on the lips. And my son got a picture of it. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
It just kind of happened.
Who'd you kiss on the lips?
Rondé.
Oh my God.
It just kind of happened, and it was. But he just gave me this huge bear hug, and because I didn't see him all day really until the party, and until I saw him a couple times. He went by, and he's going with other people. So I really didn't get to address him until like 11 o'clock at night, like when we were both hammered.
Wow.
And so, because I wasn't going to push it, I knew I'd see him and talk to him at some point. And then we probably spent the last hour and a half together, dancing and just acting a fool and chatting. And it was really, rewarding on so many levels. And just, you cover guys, and I've covered thousands and thousands of athletes and made friends of many of them. But this is just at a different level, and so happy for him. So happy. It's almost like, a member of your family just getting that validation of his lifelong career, and it was tremendous. So, and we're going to get into the Rays here. Messi, Bryson DeChambeau, United States Women's National Team. In fact, let's get into some of that right now in our first segment, and then we'll get to Rondé's speech in our next segment because I want to hit on some of these topics. The Rays go 6-3 on the road trip, which was great. Won 3 series in a row for the first time since 2019. That's all good, but Shane McClanahan, unless something miraculous happens, looks like he's going to get the dreaded TJ. We don't know that yet, but he's seeking a fifth opinion, I think, or whatever number it is, going out to California to get that. And
to a doctor who has treated other Tommy John surgeries.
Yeah, so it's just like, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's probably a duck.
It's just something every day with this team, man.
It's so
and it's stuff that's out of their control, and it's like McClanahan, you have that going on. Well, that came out on Saturday, I think. And then yesterday, it's like we wake up to the news that Tyler Glasnow's not going to start a game because of back spasms. And it's like that one, it's like that's not that serious. I mean, the dude is 6'8", 6'9". I'd imagine there's plenty of times in his life where he's got back issues.
It's just like we've talked about this. He's such a physical freak.
Right.
It just, to do what he does, on a day or every 5 days, at that level, at that exertion level, with all the shit that's going on in that 6'8" body to get everything in line, and it's it's represented in his career numbers. He's never done more than 14 starts, And it's not. I hate knocking the guy because I like him so much. It's just not a knock. It is what it is.
No, he's so damn good. He's one of the elite pitchers, and
he's incredible.
I told you at the beginning of the year that when Tyler Glasnow is at his best, I think his best is better than Shane McClanahan's best.
I would agree.
Not
with
a dig on Shane McClanahan.
I would agree with that.
I just think Glasnow's potential has just always been through the
and
roof.
Both of them are Cy Young levels.
Exactly.
I mean, that's rare. That's rarefied air.
Right.
To be able to have that kind of ability.
Right.
And what's this? Is this number 4 just this year?
Of what?
TJ?
Well, we had Springs go down. We had Rasmussen go down.
So
does Baz kind of count in that as well? Because he got his at, the end of last year?
Yeah.
So you just throwing guys in that are typically in the rotation.
Yeah.
There's 3, and then McClanahan, if this is what happens, would make 4.
And that would be 10 in 4 years, I believe, which is second most in Major League
Yeah,
Baseball.
and then Kittredge is the other one, but he by the way, he probably is going to be here pretty soon. He looks damn good in AAA.
Good.
He's throwing like 96, 97 last night.
Good.
But yeah, this is kind of like my fear now with this team. And we mentioned this at the beginning of the year about what's going to stop this team. And, injuries was one of the things we pointed to. They've had such great injury luck for the most part in their lineup throughout the season.
Yeah.
Starting pitching, they've been able to piece it together. They just had so much depth that they've been able to still have the best pitching staff in the league. But it's like, how many more Band-Aids, I guess, can you continue to put on?
How many more Erasmo Ramirez's can
yeah,
you find?
and that's great that he was able to get through 3 innings yesterday, but it's Erasmo Ramirez, man.
Yeah.
He was starting games for this team in 2017 where they were going nowhere.
Yeah.
And here he is. And Zach Littell just gave you 6 innings. Is he doing the Drew Rasmussen?
I don't know what these guys their pitching resume is at the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, and then the most tragic thing I've ever seen at the same time.
Right.
I've never seen a team be able to just go find guys that were DFA'd by 4 teams and turn them into, a number 3 starter or a back end of the bullpen guy. I've never seen a team do this. They're just incredible at finding metrics and then honing them and combining them with their analytics and their scouting to make guys really, really good. The back end of that is, though, they put too much pressure on their arms or their mechanics or whatever, and they break down. I mean, that's what you have to conclude from the last 5 to 7 years of Rays baseball. So the bottom line is they get it done. Their pitching numbers are among the most elite in baseball almost every single year. So you want to criticize it, but you can't criticize the results. The results are great. It's very unorthodox the way they do it.
Yeah, and again, I think, pitching injuries, I think I said this on Friday when we were first talking about Shane's injury. The pitching injuries, the stress on the elbow, most of this is just a factor of where the game is right now.
Yeah.
It almost seems inevitable at some point.
No.
High velocity has always resulted in Tommy John.
Yeah.
Funky arm angles has always resulted in Tommy John.
And that's what the Rays do.
And those 2 things are more prevalent in the game today than I think they've ever been.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it. You could talk about the other things. Are these guys being not worked enough potentially? I don't know the answers to it. I don't know the numbers, obviously. I know every team deals with injuries, but it just seems like this team just has the worst luck when it comes to it. It really does. And it's like, I don't want it to derail a season, because if you're looking at it just from an objective standpoint, yes, you still have Glasnow, you still have Eflin, you still have Savale, and if Zach Littell's going to be a guy here that we can count on now, you still have all that. But, I mean, just not having your ace and Shane McClanahan, that's tough. That's tough to get through.
You got no shot. With an inconsistent offense, a very inconsistent and streaky offense.
Right now, they're on the right side of the streakiness.
Yeah, going to Detroit will do that. But they won 3 series. Astros, Yankees, Tigers.
Yeah, I put it in the title today, and I know Bucs Basement disagrees, but I think it was an excellent road trip. I really do. They didn't need to win 8 games on this road trip to make it excellent. You win
6-3 and win 3 series.
You go 6-3 on the road,
trip,
especially for a team that has not played as well on the road this year. That was great to see, and they entered this road trip literally on the worst slump you could be on. Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, and they've been able to get out of it, and some of their big boppers who needed to get going have gotten going on this road trip as well.
Bucs Basement said, good morning, Chris Cole said, I wouldn't say excellent would have been sweeping the abysmal Tigers and advancing on the Orioles. Now they're 3 games back. They were 1.5. That's the thing. You go 6-3 and you lose ground because the Orioles are playing so well. How about the Noles getting safety recruit KJ Bolden? Clearly the Noles are making moves. My son and I, my son's a bigger Noles fan than I, were driving to Rondé's party, listening to that live. KJ Bolden's, we were on one of the Noles sites. I think it was on 3. So on 3, your site. And we got him. We got KJ Bolden. Of course, now we got how many months till December? 5 months. I think this just starts the bidding war.
You got to hold on.
I think when you get a commitment to somebody, right, in these classes, it just starts the bidding war. That's where it starts.
No,
right
yeah,
now.
the Travis Hunter thing has ruined everything.
Right. It's like, okay, so now you got a commitment. Whoop-de-doo.
Right.
Now we'll trade offers for the next 6 months or whatever it is, and see who comes out on top. Which, by the way, over the weekend, the Pac-12 dissolves. 100-year league just dissolves over the weekend.
Well, they haven't officially dissolved, but unofficially.
It's imploded. And it's just, it's weird. It's just weird. It's progress, I guess. It was inevitable. But this goes to show you, when you don't take care of your business and do what's right, eventually things are going to crumble. And I think that's what happened with the Pac-12. And the other part of it is the reality of West Coast and California in particular. They don't care. They don't care about college athletics like the rest of the country does. They just don't. It does mean more in the SEC and the Big Ten and the Big 12. They just don't have the fan bases, the eyeballs. It's just not a big deal out there. And so I think that's one of the biggest reasons. Just the interest wasn't as big. And USC and UCLA are like, look, we're brands. We're getting the hell out of here where nobody really cares about it. And we'll go play in stadiums where they do. So I think that was a good move. Now, vis-a-vis Florida State. I'm sure you saw all the Stouty memes over the weekend. When they
I did, and
I
didn't make sense of those.
So Florida State has done something that's groundbreaking. All these private equity firms that are Saudis in particular. There are others that are investing in sports, right? They, basically they're buying into teams, infusing them with cash against future earnings. Well, that's where Florida State is right now. They are a brand that's going to bring in hundreds of millions of dollars. Why the grant of rights screws them over and the ACC. A deal that was horrifically done by a bunch of people at Florida State that were completely incompetent, by the way, that did that deal, had no idea what they were doing. And this is what happens. When you don't pay attention to what's important, your core values, your core business, you lose it. And Florida State was on the precipice of doing that, and had they hired that other athletic director from Louisville, probably would not be where they are today. But with Mike Alford and Will and Drew Weatherford and others at the helm that know what they're doing, people that are now running this that know what they're doing, are well connected. By the way, Michael Kelly, I'll throw in there, and Will Weatherford, I'll throw in there. The people that are now running the deal at USF know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, and they are going to prosper by this. Don't be fooled by 1-11. It's not what's important, okay? It's the infrastructure that Michael Kelly has built, and the stadium, and the money that they know they're worth in their market. So good news for USF people. You're in good position, despite, Michael's, and we'll just be honest, he'll be the first one to tell you he's whiffed on some hires, is what it is. But he's done the real work that needed to be done to put them in position to get into a good conference. So I think they're in a good set. As far as Florida State goes, this private equity deal gives them leverage. It gives them leverage to say to the ACC, look, you need to check, we'll cut it to you right now. But we ain't staying. We're out of here. And if you listen to the Drew Weatherford, and I played it for my son, he wanted to listen. If you listen to his interview with us, go back and listen to it. He talked about a third option. We said Big 12, SEC, and a third option. And he talked a lot about the other teams in the ACC should be pissed off as well. And if they can get 8 teams to leave, the league dissolves. They don't have an exit fee.
Right. But it sounded like the at least North Carolina. There was that thing on Friday. Their AD is like pissed off at Florida State.
Is he?
Right.
He's pissed off because Florida State is taking care of their own. Florida State, listen, they've told the conference for quite some time now, you need to fix this. You need to fix this. I don't know how you – and listen, they have a deal with ESPN, okay? You can fix that. You can fix that. It's a contract, and don't underestimate what's going on here. Because if Florida State leaves for the Big Ten, where are their games? Fox, not ESPN. So, and all this reporting you hear from ESPN
and it's
on the ACC, by the way,
wouldn't it be
take it with a grain of salt.
Be CBS as well, right? Because now they're now the Big Ten, no longer the SEC.
Right. Well,
yeah,
right. So ESPN, is not interested in watching Clemson, Miami, and Florida State walk away from the ACC. Those are huge television properties for them. So they've got but they've done nothing but entrench with this grant of rights deal. And so Florida State said, okay, fine. And we don't, and I love this about this administration. The past administration was all about, we got to take care of our friends in the ACC, and we're going to make sure Wake Forest is okay, and make sure NC State is okay, and we don't, look.
No.
Sorry. If you want to compete at the highest level, that's not the way to go about it, okay? If you're talking about some academic stuff, fine. You want to compete at the highest level. You cannot compete with what the ACC is doing. And this is a problem that Florida State has had from the very beginning with ACC. They've never been serious about competing in football. Never. They have always, and this is where the rubber has finally met the road. You're not going to be able to compete at the highest level in basketball or football or all of your other sports unless you have a grant of rights deal that is going to pay you market value. And Florida State has propped up that league for way too long. And in the past administrations, we're all into that bull crap. And this administration is, sorry. McCullough, the president, and the board of trustees, and Mike Alford, they are businessmen. And they know what the hell's going on. And so they are buttoned up, and they are ready. And if you don't think Florida State has a place to land, which is another stupid-ass thing I'm seeing out there, trust me. If the SEC, and Heather Dinich, I love you, Heather. But she said, I asked Greg Sankey if they've had any conversations with Florida State, and he said no. And Paul Feinbaum's like, without saying what he needs, he goes, what else is he going to tell you, Heather? Of course, we are behind the scenes taking legal steps that will get us sued if they became public knowledge.
Yeah.
No, this stuff goes on behind closed doors, folks. Trust me.
Yeah, and we're like, what are we?
So don't, FSU's going to end up like San Diego State.
Yeah, I saw that. There's like, why are people like just underestimating the value of that brand? I don't understand that one, but
it's just stupid.
It is what it is. But yeah, so what are we? 8 days away, and all this stuff happens really quickly to the point where like even Friday, and I, of course this is how it happens. I wake up on Friday and there was a report from Nicole Auerbach from the Athletic, who's on top of all this, and it was like the Washington-Oregon deal has lost steam.
Exactly.
Might be dead.
Yeah, it's dead.
And then I tell you that on the show, and then like an hour later, it's official. They're moving on, and I'm like, this thing's like, I don't understand how quickly these things happen. They change.
There's a lot of misinformation out there.
It's just, it's all over the place right now. And as much as I've been saying, this is the world we live in now at college football. You have to adapt or die essentially, and you can't worry about the little guys. It doesn't mean I have to like it.
No.
I think the grand scheme of things here, I fail to see how this is good for college athletics as a whole. I'm not just saying college football. As college athletics, if you are a fan of sports, college sports and college football, how in the world could you actually love this? Because all the traditions, all the rivalries, all the things that made college sports unique, unique is the key word there,
100%,
are all being ripped away from you.
Right.
And as somebody who's very nostalgic about those things, and we all are, that's the part that sucks.
It sucks.
I don't have any interest, this is just me, in seeing Oregon and Iowa playing each other in October.
Right.
I just don't.
No.
You might have interest in that, but I can't imagine the overmarching people do.
No.
So I think in the end, it's terrible. And the other sports I think about, too, in regards to now we have schools playing on the other sides of the country. Maybe for football it's not a big deal, but what about the other sports?
Well, it becomes a financial drain. But what happens is you'll have divisions. You'll have divisions where all the geographic teams will be together and they'll play, a lot more than they play the other teams. And they'll probably come together at the beginning of the season in a neutral place and all play a tournament, because they're all in the same league, softball or rowing or whatever. They'll come together at the end of the year. So whatever.
That's not college sports.
It's
man.
not. And this is what I've been talking about for 20 years. Get your house in order. Have some effing leadership. Somebody, and see, the NCAA could have done this.
Yeah, like why is it? My other thing too, and I don't pretend to understand how these deals are made. Why does it seem like it's so easy to like just blow everything up in college football? Why is it so easy?
Because
like it could be like literally one day it's like, oh, we're showing interest in going to the Big Ten, right? We have interest in going to the Big Ten. To immediately, oh, we're having a meeting on campus. Oh, our people have approved it. Oh, we've just applied. Oh, we've just accepted it. Like it feels like it happens.
It's because
like
the money's
that
so big.
quick.
Because the money, everybody is chasing the money. Admittedly, Florida State is chasing the money. But you have to understand.
Right, and I understand they have to.
Florida State understands this core value. They were a second-rate, hate to say, rinky-dink, born of a woman's college university in the 50s and 60s and 70s and some degree to the 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Bobby Bowden came along. And Bobby Bowden transformed that school from a national to a national brand, so much so that all these students started wanting to go to Florida State by seeing them on television. And then when you get more people applying to your university, you can be more selective about your students. You get better students. You get better who become better boosters, who get you more money. The boosters give more money to the school. The school grows. They get a mag lab. They get this. They get that and the other. You look up in 2020, and they're one of the biggest brands in college football. They are a top research university in the world with their mag lab. They're one of the best academic places. You now need a 1,400 SAT to get into Florida State University. Mm-hmm. It's transformed the entire thing. And that's what our should our athletic departments be charged with doing this for the universities? No. Should we have huge athletic departments part of our academic core of universities? No. Nobody else does that in the world, but that's how it evolved. It just kind of evolved that way. And 20 years ago, had we had some leadership at the NCAA and saw this coming and said, look, guys, this old amateur athlete model, we got to get rid of that. We got to pay the players. We're now not making, a couple $100,000 a game on ticket revenue like they did in the 50s and 60s and 70s. We're bringing in tens of millions of dollars in ticket revenue, hundreds of millions of dollars in television revenue. And the game has changed. It's changed dramatically. So you have to evolve. And if we had some leadership at the time, they would have said exactly what you said. We have to, above all, keep the tradition, keep the regional rivalries. This is what makes us unique. That will make us more money in the end. So we have to get together as a collective and take care of this business, pay the players who are producing the revenue in some way. So we can take care of that to avoid all legal challenges that are going to eventually come our way, which has been the precursor for all this money chasing. Then we're going to get our television contracts together. And we're going to negotiate our television contracts together as one entity, not 12 different conferences. Yeah. So we all have to come together and get that done. Then we can have standardized rules across the sport, and we don't have to break up all these different, what it now has come to, a big money grab and a money chase that has destroyed the traditions of college football.
I've accepted now, in my opinion, this goes for all sports actually, because I'm just thinking of all the things that have just irritated me lately. I think sports in general might have peaked.
Oh, yeah.
Of what they used to be.
Yeah, I said that about 5 years ago.
Yeah, I'm probably late to the party, but I'm just thinking of other things. It's like, get your bag, yes. I have no problem with that. But when it becomes 100% about money and money only and everything else just comes secondary, that's when I, as a fan, start to get a little irritated. And I had another example of that on Friday night because, as you were obviously up in Cleveland, I believe. So this didn't really affect you. And I don't know if anybody else had this problem, but the Rays were playing the Tigers, and I got all settled in to watch the Rays play on Friday night.
Yeah,
right?
They were on TBS.
No, they were on Apple TV.
Apple TV, yeah.
Okay, and they make it sound so easy. You just got to sign in with your account and you get in. Guess what? Didn't happen.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. You want to know why? It didn't work.
Right.
It didn't work. There was something on the website was not working. I don't know if it was just me or if anybody else had issues.
And that happens a lot.
It happens a lot. And even whenever I get to watch those broadcasts, they end up being very spotty and everything. Yeah. And I just thought to myself,
announcers you don't know.
Exactly. And I thought to myself
then,
like, what are we doing as a society with sports?
Yeah.
And it's all just money-making ventures. That's it, to the detriment of the product and to the detriment of your own fan base, to where I couldn't even watch the game. I missed the entire game Friday night.
Right.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And now we talk about this stuff.
Well,
It's all about these damn TV rights, man.
I think the Dodgers went 3 years without being on the dominant cable station in LA. Like, you couldn't even watch the Dodgers in Los Angeles because of these TV rights beefs that come up.
We
it sounds
still
stupid.
hold up. We still in this city for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
If you have Frontier, you can't even watch the Rays or the Lightning.
Right.
We're 3 years into this dispute
Crazy.
between Bally's or whatever and Frontier Network, which is what, the biggest or the second biggest cable provider in the entire city.
Spectrum's first.
Are you
Frontier's
freaking
second.
kidding me?
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The fact that you can't turn on your TV and watch your game, like, I don't want to sound like, old grumpy dude.
I don't give a damn.
But
It should be that easy. It should be
that
very easy.
It should be that easy.
Now I got games on Apple TV. I got games on Peacock. I got games on Bally's. I got games on TBS. I got them on MLB Network. I got them on MLB Free Pass. They're all over the place, man.
It's bizarre. It's bizarre. And it's no good. And as far as, vis-a-vis college football, it's just, no. And when this is all said and done, we're going to, the Florida State-Florida rivalry is in jeopardy.
All the Florida State-Miami rivalry looks like it's going goodbye.
Like, if I get an FSU schedule that doesn't include Florida and Miami, what are we doing?
As a fan, how is that? But you get to play. Let me just throw a random Big Ten out there but I get
Iowa State.
Yeah, I get to play Iowa State, or I get to play Iowa. Like, my goodness, that makes up for it. Does that really make up for it?
No.
Come on.
It's pointless. It's pointless. I don't. And even Illinois, FSU, Illinois, meh.
Yeah, meh. That's where I go.
FSU,
meh.
Wisconsin. All right. They get to go up to Madison. I'm okay with that.
FSU, Indiana, that moved the needle for you?
No. I'm going to Bloomington. No. FSU, Penn State. Yeah, FSU. But you want me to replace FSU, Florida with FSU, Penn State? No, thank you. No.
Hell, even as a fan,
even Ohio State.
I was going to say.
Oh, but you get to play Ohio State every year over Miami? Don't want it.
I'd rather play Miami.
Don't want it. No, what's the point? What's the effing point of college football if you're not going to have these traditional rivalries? It's madness.
We've lost the plot of what made college sports successful, and college football in particular the second biggest sport in the entire country.
And that's why the SEC is still the biggest, because they've preserved their rivalries and traditions.
Yeah, and everybody gives them shit about that.
Everybody else is going in Oklahoma, Texas. You can bring people in and still, and to some degree they are losing a little bit of their rivalries with new scheduling because they have to make room for these new teams coming in. But I think you can. That's palatable, vis-a-vis, USF. Boise State.
Yeah, but
Nobody cares.
I will say the SEC is the only thing remaining to me that can keep the tradition of college football alive. And listen, to their credit, and I say this.
I think the Big Ten.
The Big Ten could, but the Big Ten is going out there on this purge and acquiring everybody they can, and they're probably not done. The SEC really has only added Oklahoma and Texas. That's it.
Which has gutted the Big 12, by the way. So
it gutted the Big 12, but the Big 12 at least has shown an initiative to bring in the other big players that are remaining.
What Big 12 traditions remain?
I mean, the big ones were Oklahoma and Texas, gone, and Oklahoma State and Oklahoma, gone.
Gone, yeah.
So I guess, to your point, the big ones are gone, yeah.
Right.
But you got BYU and Utah now. What that's worth.
Yeah. And that's why I say, and these conferences are talking, these super conferences are talking about going to all conference games. No, again, that would, Florida State and Miami, unless they go to jump to the same league.
No, I was going to say real quick, because I know we got to hit a break, but just this question, maybe you could answer on the other side, but like, from where Florida State could go from here, because the Big Ten, I don't know if they've decided they're done yet or they want to keep adding. Who knows what's going on in the SEC, but we did have the interview with Weatherford where he said that it could be another option outside of those two.
Third option.
Doesn't the Big 12, when you think about it, almost make, in a way, the most sense if you're a Florida State and Clemson?
How so?
You continue to be the A brands in your conference. You keep that rivalry together, which has really come on in the last, 10, 15 years, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
So you bring that tradition over to the Big 12. You still get the crazy money from the media rights deal that the Big 12 just got, right? So it keeps you competitive with the SEC and the Big 10.
Mm-hmm.
And from a competitive advantage, which I don't know if in the grand scheme matters, the Big 12 is weaker than the other two conferences.
True.
So if you're Florida State, it's not exactly a lateral move because the Big 12 is better than the ACC, the rest of the ACC, but you get the money influx, you stay the A brand, and you get a more desirable schedule.
It's not a bad option, but it's not as good as the SEC or Big Ten.
No, but I mean it wouldn't be the worst option.
And there may be a third option, another option.
Or a fourth option.
Whereas all the teams, the breakaway teams from the ACC, the 8, if they can get 8, then they don't have to pay an exit fee. They start a new conference
with the Pac-12
and with what's left over from the Pac-12, and then maybe cherry pick a couple others that maybe people aren't thinking about. What? Yeah, USF.
Yeah, my USF Bulls going here.
Yeah, could be. Now that I think would be the least desirable. I would think it would be. So I think it's going to be Big Ten or SEC. I think it's going to be Big Ten or SEC. People in the know, I've heard, are saying SEC.
Yeah, the SEC has been kind of quiet on this, so that tells me that something's going on.
Yeah, there's something going on. They're not sitting on the sideline. I have a hard time understanding the economics of it, when adding, because you add Clemson and Florida State, you're not capturing any television markets you don't already have, and you're bringing in 2 brands that are just going to make it harder for everybody else to win games. Your league is just ridiculous. If Florida State and Clemson are added to the SEC, then that league just beats you up.
Where's the SEC at right now? They're at 16 teams, right?
Yes.
So if they added Florida State and Clemson, you'd presume they want to get to 20. Hear me out. I'd throw Duke and Kentucky together in there.
For basketball. No.
Yeah.
No.
I would just round it out with that, and there's your 20. Because you still bring in 2 crazy, least
Kentucky's already in the SEC.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking North Carolina.
Yeah.
North Carolina. Yeah. Because those 2, I think, are more, even in some cases, Duke is almost a world brand.
It is. Yeah. But college basketball is just.
I know, but.
It's just not the brand it used to be.
No, but.
It's like college football. I mean, college football just runs everything. Basketball used to be like here, and now it's just down here. It's like, basketball. Well, they just don't bring in a lot of eyeballs.
Yeah.
But they do bring a lot of revenue because of a lot of games and a lot of TV. So that is part of it. So it's a mess. It's an effing mess, and I just wish that there would have been some leadership along the way that could have kept college sports the way it was, but they're not. All right, we'll take a quick break here. Sorry we went over. Boy, we went way over. Lots to talk about. These are big stories, folks. These are huge effing stories. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Get the personal attention you so richly deserve from Scott Jeeves and his great team of attorneys over there. They will represent you vigorously and get you a settlement that will make you very, very happy, and they'll call you back. It won't just be a number like with some of those big other firms. It's the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Go to the website, contact them from there. Tell them JP sent you. Back with some anecdotes from the Rondé Barber speech, and we'll play some of it as well. Stay with us. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by. never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work, you save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa, and for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Coming back at you.
Now, more with JP on Fan Stream Sports.
It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. They got the great True Body machine over there. Get yourselves on that so you don't have to do 50,000 sit-ups. They'll do it for you. It just activates your core and gets those muscles working, and they're getting great results with that. So if you want to get on that machine, I highly recommend it. Go to BAMMC.com. You want to get your testosterone right, guys, please get that done. That'll make such a difference in your life. And 50% of males have far less testosterone, or I believe testosterone levels have come down 50% since the 70s and the 80s, and that's not just happenstance, folks. And you need to do something about it. So go see Chris Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, and he will help you out with that big time.
Hey, real quick before we move on, just we're in the nostalgic mood today.
We are.
How about this one? On this day in 1999, Wade Boggs, the 3,000 hit, the home run. The 23rd member of the 3,000 hit club and the first one to do it on a home run on this day in 1999.
20 years ago.
23 years ago. No, 24 years ago.
Wow.
24 years ago.
Damn, time flies. Did not seem that long
I know.
ago.
There you go.
Wow. All right, so speaking of nostalgia, and by the way, we're efforting Devin White, who's going to speak today. A couple things on Bucs camp today. I was out there today. It's very interesting. Fans were out there today. Mm-hmm. And I'll put the video up a little bit later on. Every time Kyle Trask threw a pass, QB1, cheers. Baker throws a pass now. It's like, and he doesn't connect. Boo.
Oh my.
Boo. Yeah. Oh yeah. I was like, holy shit, this has switched.
They got Gator fans plants in there or something.
Yeah, week one, it was like Baker, woo, Baker. And now it's very pro Kyle Trask, which is kind of interesting. It doesn't mean anything. It's just not going to sway the coaches. It's just interesting. And this interception count has just gotten out of hand. And we're a bunch of us in media, Sal Pals. Talking with Sal Pal Antonio there at camp, and also Mike Sando, another one of the pro football Canton voters. And we were talking about a lot of different things, but one of the things we were talking about is this interception, and Scott Reynolds was talking about it. We're talking about in numbers of interceptions. Folks, there's so many things that go into interceptions and who's throwing them and who's not. It is by far not the biggest barometer in practice about who's doing well and who's not. Because professionals, like Brady would throw a lot, I want to say a lot of picks, but he would throw picks in practice because he's pushing the envelope. He wants to see how far he can go to get a completion, because when it's 3rd and 15, you're not going to have a big window to throw in, okay? Mm-hmm. That's when you have to decide, this is the time I have to take a chance. How much of a chance do I have to get? Like and for this particular receiver, what's his catch radius? And the only way to find that out is to test your limits, and that's a great time to do it is in practice. See what you can get away with and see what you can't, and that imprints on your mind. It's like, okay, I was a tick late on throwing that ball, but I still got it there. So and that goes into the memory bank. I can still get it done with that particular guy. I was a tick late throwing that, and guess what? This particular receiver did not attack the ball like I expected him to do. It ended up a pick, but now I know.
So are you?
He's had 5 years in the league. He knows in order to get better, he's got to, play on the edge sometime and see what, how far he can take it and how different receivers are going to react.
So you feel that Kyle Trask needs to take more chances at some point during camp?
Yeah. If you're not throwing any interceptions, you're not taking enough chances. And if you're not taking enough chances, you're not getting better. But I understand what he's doing. But this is the difference between a Kyle Trask and a Baker Mayfield in terms of training camp. Baker's focused on getting better as a quarterback and finding out what these guys can do, receivers that is, and he could do at the highest level. Like, where's the edge here? How far can I push it? Whereas Kyle's just like, I'm not going to throw any interceptions, so, that's what I've been told to do. It's a different maturation process, and the coaches understand this. Like for instance, in a one-on-one drill today, I was talking with Manny Matera about this, and he put it out on Pewter Report. He put it out on Twitter. The one-on-one drill, as a quarterback, you got to throw the ball. You have to throw the ball. because they're doing a one-on-one, and at some point you have to throw the ball. So if you have a receiver that can't get loose from a DB, and you still got to throw the ball, and it just means the DB is better than that receiver. Like in a game, he wouldn't throw that ball, but it gets picked up because the drill is for the defensive backs and the receivers,
right?
And somewhat for the quarterback, but it's more about getting open. And if you can't get open, if you're blanketed and the guy's got to throw the ball, it's going to get picked. That's not something that would happen in the game.
And you're saying those are types INTs that are getting charted? Because I thought the ones that were getting charted were just the ones in like the 7-on-7, 11-on-11s.
No, they're all getting charted. And the media reports them. The media reports them. But, and as Matt did in that tweet, you have to report
Well,
it
I guess the flip side of that is, Trask is going through the same drills as Baker.
Yeah.
And so what is he doing? Is he just throwing the ball away?
Not all the you could do that, but not all the receiving drills are or the interceptions are in team, or just in one-on-ones. This is all, we get reports on all different. And again, you don't know the context of the actual play.
Right.
If
it's hard.
If it's 4th and 17 and you throw a pick, that's okay. Because you're, it's an end of game and it's 4th to 17. It's better than eating the ball.
I think it's fair to say that what's coming up in 2 weeks with the Jets is when we'll have a firm grasp.
Friday against the Steelers as well.
Yeah, exactly. First thing against the Steelers as well, which I think it's probably meaningless of who. Is it meaningless? You think whoever comes out first?
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably meaningless.
Yeah.
Oh, here comes Devin White.
All right, let's go to it live.
Let's
Devin
go
White
to it live.
at training camp here.
Oh, it was wonderful. Just got to be around the family a lot. Just focus, get my mind right.
There came a point.
That's not what we're talking about.
Where do you stand from a mindset now, and just is it disappointing to you still that you don't belong to do?
I just wanted to be the guy here for a long time, but actually after really just sitting down with Coach Bowles and Jason Light, just understanding they plan for me and what they got in play, and just coming up with something with them guys just to see how I could be better, and moving forward, I think we all came to a good agreement, and that's why I'm here just focusing on the season now.
A lot of fans were kind of surprised and maybe upset because you've got a lot of fans.
Yeah.
And when you say I want to be traded because I'm not getting paid, is there any regret on your part looking back?
Yeah. As far as regret, I don't think it's no regret, and I don't think it's just about being paid. It's just about being a guy who was drafted here, and doing a lot for this program. Just want to be the long-term guy, just want to be a guy like Levante. He been here forever. I wanted to be that next guy, and we just didn't make it happen when I wanted it to, and that's where I kind of got a little selfish, even knowing I still had the 5th-year option, and that was a thing in play. And I guess early on you don't realize it. You just know, like, hey, I'm at the end of my contract. Let's get it in, lock me in. I know I feel comfortable here. I love the coaching staff here. I love all, the teammates, even the fans. The ones that went against me or the ones still with me. It's all love. But at the end of the day, I thought that was best for me. But at the end of the day, I'm still here, and I came back with a positive mindset, and I'm locked in. And I've been watching practice. I've been getting it in. I've been trying to be the leader for this team because we got a great bunch this year. And I think we can get it done.
This is exactly what we needed to hear.
What's
Bravo,
your opinion
Devin
on some
White.
of the younger rookies here? Yaya Diaby, Servassier Dennis. Those guys have been making some plays for you. What's your assessment of them so far?
Oh, man. I think Jason and Ty, even when B.A. was here, I think they go get some of the best guys that come in and be fit players, guys fit for this team. And that's why you see those guys making plays. I think they do a really great job of evaluating players and going to get players that they can plug and play. And, I'm really excited for especially all the guys they got on defense. I don't know how it's going to work because there's so many good ones, but, man, I know they're going to find their way on the field just by going so hard in practice. You rather say whoa than sick them, so I think they're doing a good job, and I'll be in their ear. And I'm just motivating them, man, because, we need them. We need all hands on deck to be who we want to be.
Your relationship with Todd Bowles and Larry Foote, what they mean to you both personally and just your growth as a linebacker in this league?
Yeah, I go on Coach Bowles first, man. I think he, like more than anything, he's a father figure, Man, he always been there for me. A lot of people know his wife from Louisiana, so I get invited and I get a lot of meals from their house and stuff. Man, just obviously just having an open door policy. I go up there and watch a lot of film with him, just try to correct myself and, own into my mistakes and get better, and I think that's the thing about him, he's always willing to help somebody grow. And just Larry Foote, man, I think he's just too smart, it's hard to keep up with him, he always trying to teach different techniques and, you know, kind of just put you in that mode where you could be even faster, even smarter. And so, man, I'm taking everything in and just, you know, just trying to be basically a sponge with those guys. Because at the end of the day, I might not have them forever, but while I got them, I'm trying to take advantage of it.
You're going into another year in Tampa Bay, going into camp. What are some of the things about your game that you like right now heading into camp, and what are some things that maybe you're looking to improve on before the season starts?
I think some things that I improved on that I'm very happy with is just my zone drops, just being a great vision players and taking the right angles, and, you know, just really getting a lot of pass breakups and getting my hands on the ball, being around the ball even more. I think, you know, we always been so locked in as a man pressure team, and I'm just locked in on the back, you know, whoever it is. Now we kind of switching it up, and we, you know, coming from all angles. So now I'm just, you know, being able to get that repetition. And, you know, obviously, man, you always want to get better at everything. You know, you don't do nothing good. Nobody does nothing good.
I think anytime we ask about contract issues with players, we hear that it's business. It's kind of part of the deal. Do you feel like you've been embraced by your teammates the same way that's all coming back?
Oh, yeah, man. First day I came in, you know, I'm the one led the huddle. You know, like I said, like, it is business. It's all business at the end of the day. You know, it's going to happen. You know, I hate that it had to happen that way because I love being here. Like, I can't overexpress that enough. Like, everybody know my love for horses. I got a 9-star born in Florida, you know, so I want to be here. I want to be established here. But, I mean, that's in the past now. You know, I'm going out there and I'm trying to focus on what I can do better, you know, to set myself up for what I want. And, you know, it can't be denied. So I think that's the only thing. But even with me doing that, I'm still doing it within a team effort. You know, I'm just trying to be the perfect teammate for my guys. And, you know, I want to be a captain again. That was one thing. Like a lot of stuff was hard. Like, sitting out was hard. And I wasn't really sitting out because I still came in the building, you know, because I want to be here. But at the end of the day, man, that's over with. I'm on the field. I'm going hard, and I'm embraced by all the guys. I'm out there working and making them better. They're making me better.
Awesome.
What is it to have Levante back? And, you know, what does Levante mean to you this year as you guys go into another season?
Yeah, I mean, Levante mean the world to me just ever since my rookie year. And I know every team that wanted him, and I was telling him he couldn't go, and I was making it hard on the team that wanted him. I was just being negative to him because, I mean, at the end of the day, I love playing beside him, man. He the best vet I ever had. You know, he's always made everything around me easy, and I think I've been doing the same for him as well, you know. You know, I asked him, hey, you want to wear the mic this year? And I could just focus on lining up and playing. He's like, nope, that's your job. So I think, man, it's a love relationship with us too, man. I'm just excited, and I just keep telling him, like, keep going. You know, we were just looking, and somebody just signed with the Panthers one more year. I said, what year he in? He was like 14. I was like, oh, yeah, you got 3 more in you. So I think, man, it's just motivation, just seeing him do what he do at a high level just make me just want to keep going and just have fun, man, because this is a guy I love being around him. You know, I know his fam, he know my fam, and, like, he cool with my mom, I'm cool with his wife, and, you know, everything. So I think it's a love relationship.
You sat down with Jason and Todd. What were they able to impart on you to kind of get you to kind of reset and go forward?
Oh, I mean, they just told me they always had a plan for me. You know, they always had a plan. You know, they know what was going on, what they did, you know, as far as everything, you know, helping us get that Super Bowl. Like, a lot of stuff, you know, it ain't really too much to speak on, but, you know, I believe in their plan. I believed in their plan when they drafted me, you know, so I'm going to keep believing in their plan. I'm going to keep working hard, and I'm going to just be me. You know, at the end of the day, man, whatever you do, you just leave it all out there, and I think it's already written. You know, that's my mindset. It's already written. What's for you is for you. You know, you just got to be a little patient and, you know, be even more humble. You know, that was a time that humbled me, and I'm grateful for it. You know, I'm grateful I went to it. I seen a lot of people turn on me. A lot of people go with me, but it is what it is. I do this for my family and the people that I play, that I line up with, and, you know, the other guys on the other side of the ball. I do this for them. So, I mean, I'm grateful for it all, you know. It is what it is.
How great is it to have Shaq Barrett out there, and what have you seen from him so far in this camp?
Shaq is Shaq, man. You know, he was always our diamond in the rough. We came here together, and, you know, he's been a monster. You know, just for me having him on the field, you know, I think it take a lot of pressure off me blitzing in the middle because they got a block out to him. You know, last year when he went down, I started getting a little double team up in there. So I'm happy for that reason. You know, he can get all the attention because he's one of the best pass rushers, you know, in the league. So I'm just happy to be playing with my brother. You know.
Speaking of blitzing, you're one of the best blitzing linebackers in this league. You've come perilously close to leading this team in sacks when you had 9 and then 5.5 last year. Is that one of your goals? Is that how you motivate yourself? You want to be the leading sacker of the Bucs?
Nah, it's not my goal. I want to be a complete overall linebacker. You know, I want to be like, hey, he's the best linebacker, not just the best blitzing linebacker. And, you know, I got a lot of work to do, but I'm willing to do it, you know, and I'm willing to hone in on everything I don't do good because that's the title I want. You know, right now it's 2 guys that got the title, and, you know, I think me and Levante, we ain't too far, but, you know, obviously Fred Warner and Roquan. You know, them two guys, they set the bar pretty high last year. And, I mean, I know where work needs to be done, and I'm going to do it. You know, I know what I'm capable of. And, you know, I told Levante we're going to push each other, you know, because we always need to be the guys that they talk about being two best linebackers in the league. We fighting for 1 and 2 or 1A, 1B. And that's just my mindset, you know, and I can put it out there. You know, I can tell anybody, and that's what it is.
Carlton said that the people that don't believe in this team, they're in for a rude awakening.
Yeah.
Antoine's one of those guys that's like, I'm not worried about what anybody else is saying. Where do you fall in that, and what message do you have for the naysayers that don't believe in this Buccaneers team?
Man, I'm glad those guys said that. You know, that's a strong thing to say, but when you know you got the guys that can back it up, you know, just going out there playing with one another, man, we look great together. You know, we flying around, the communication is great, and, man, obviously we know defense lead championships. You know, I still go back, you know, and I try to not to harp on the last seasons, but when we was really, really at our best, you know, we was getting it done, but we got overlooked, you know, by one of the greatest player to ever play the game. But now it's a different situation, so maybe this time when we come around and we top 5 defense in the league, we won't get overlooked because we don't have, you know, the biggest name in football, you know. And I'm ready, you know. I think everybody, you know, we're going to probably take it by storm, but we're going to take it one game at a time, and we're going to, you know, go out there and we're going to execute.
What's the goal as an entire unit for the defense? Is it, you know, least amount of points in the league? Is it more turnovers? What is it?
I think our goal is always 17 points or less, but we want to establish back being a dominant run defense. When we first got here, we was always a dominant run defense. I think last year we slacked off tremendously, and I think that's the biggest thing that we've been focusing on. And obviously, we slacked off, the back end got better, so we need to catch back up to them to be a complete defense. All right.
Wow. That's a wow. I'm so happy to hear. Did you see the smile on my face when he started talking? I was like, come on, man. Thank you, Devin. Thank you. That's all you had to do, man. That's all you had to do. That is such a difference maker for this team and the fans and everybody. We can all jump back on that horse with him now and see that, because I thought he was sincere. I thought he hit all the points. He said he was selfish about his social media antics and trade requests, that I'm locked in. I need to go out and prove it. I was humbled by this whole thing. Some people stayed with me. Some people jumped off. We didn't jump off, Devin. We were trying to get you back with us. You jumped off. You went on a different little trail there with your horse. We were trying to get you back on with the cavalry here, and now you're back with us. And all is forgiven. Let's go. Let's go. I think that is a tremendous development here today in camp.
It absolutely is. I'm sure there are lots of Bucs fans who are still, you know, probably irritated, pissed off, whatever the word is, at what happened in the offseason. But, you know, he said it's in the past, and it is. He showed up to camp, and for me, when he showed up to camp, that was my moment where I'm like, okay, he's here. Hopefully he's locked in. Let's just move on. Let's go forward. And hopefully he has a great season. Not saying I want to pay him $20 million still, even if he does have a great season. I probably don't. But let's go out there, and he's going to be crucial to the Bucs' success. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need him being a liability like he was for large stretches of last year, and hopefully he has a new kind of outlook on this whole thing. And, you know, in regards to endearing yourself back to the fan base, he said that he hit all the points. I want to be a Buck for life. I want to be a long-term guy like Levante, right? Tells me that he probably spoke to Levante about these things. And Levante probably talked about him, the importance of just showing up, doing your work, staying low-key, and the money will come, right? And, you know, I hope it happens because, like I said, the Bucs are going to need him, but that is definitely a great start. And dare I say something I wasn't expecting to hear?
Yeah. I wouldn't.
It was almost like over the top, like refreshing.
Yeah, yeah. This was not last year's bullshit mea culpa.
Right.
That's not what this is. He was sincere. I think think of all the people that came to him, you know, Larry Foote, I'm sure, with the champagne problems. Todd Bowles, you know, probably said, listen, man, you know, and Jason Light, he said he talked to them and he explained what their plan is, you know, and maybe it was just like, hey, man, we got to eat all this, you know, this cap with Brady and some more next year and some other stuff. We got a plan for you. We just can't do it right now. But we also need to go out, you know, we need you to improve your game. Like, we need you to be better at this, your drops.
Right.
We need you to be better at this. We need you to be better. And I think he probably understood that he needs to get better at a lot of these areas in order to get that money.
And if he wasn't locked in, regardless of what he said in that press conference, I mean, you look around the league, there's tons of guys who are not at training camp or they're just, bystanders at training camp, holding out and stuff like that. Give him credit. He never did any of that.
Nope.
He showed up from day one
he did.
and got to work. Whatever the whole thing that was going on with he wasn't up to speed or something like that, remember?
Yeah.
With conditioning maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. That was a little weird the first couple days.
Yeah.
But regardless of that.
I think they were setting him up. Yeah, I think from what Light and Bowles said before he showed up, I think it was still very much up in the air whether he was going to practice.
Well, unless I missed it too. I don't know when this conversation took place between him, and Bowles in the same room.
My guess is it took place after those press conferences. That's my guess because otherwise I think Jason Light would have said, "Oh yeah, he's locked in and ready to go. He's locked in," and I think Todd would have said the same thing. That's not what they said.
Right.
When they were asked if he was going to practice. So I think they probably had a meeting with him that night. They probably got wind that he wasn't going to practice and probably had a meeting that night and they came to the senses. He came to his senses. And I think everything he just said, look, and I'm here to tell you, when you're young and everybody, and Devin's, he's a little on the immature side. I think we can all say that.
And he wasn't in that moment.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. But these are growth moments. These are growth moments. And when everybody's telling you, hey, your agent's telling you, you're worth $20 million, bro. You're the best lineman. You just got on this list and this list and this list, and they don't want to pay you. They're effing you, man. They're effing you. You got to stand up. Don't go in there. He's got all these voices in his head. All these voices in his head. And then he finally, he's like, maybe he's like, okay, we're not going to practice. And then he sits down with Jason Light and Todd Bowles, like he said, as a father figure. And at some point you got to say, it's not quantity of voices, it's quality. It's quality. Who do I really need to listen to? Todd Bowles? Yeah. Jason Light? Yeah. Shaq Barrett? Yeah. Rondé Barber? Yeah. These guys are all saying this. I got a few. Let me look at the people who are saying this over here. Oh, my agent? Oh, he gets a cut of that contract, doesn't he? Yeah, it makes him look really, really good to get other players. Yeah. All these other hangers-on that just want to be in my yes men, as opposed to these other guys. Who should I be listening to? And that's in the mature moment. You go, yeah, probably my coach who loves me, and my general manager, and my owners. Yeah. So it's, chalk it up to a growth moment. I mean, if you still have bad feelings about Devin White, we probably need to see more than just this press conference, okay? I want to see him improve his game. I want to see him keep this attitude through the whole year, right? So, but this is a tremendous start. This is a tremendous start for him and for the Buccaneers. We need Devin White to be great for this team to do anything this year. We do.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to say, let's get Servassier Dennis in there, which we said.
I would still want to see him at some point.
Which we said.
He's been like one of the standouts at camp.
But if Devin came in here and was like, gave us the same thing he gave us last year or the offseason, if he did that right here, I'd be like, get him out of here. Bring him in. Number 8, you're the starter. That's what I'd say today. But that's not what he said. He said very much what we told, what we suggested he should say in the beginning of camp. I'm like, this is what he needs. Step to the mic, say all this stuff, and
the beautiful thing is it's out of the way.
Right.
It's over with. Before the first preseason game has even begun, we have moved on from the Devin White situation. From here on out, the only thing that I will comment on is anything relating to his play when the regular season begins.
Right.
That's it.
That's right.
We moved on.
Unless he has other immature moments.
Because I look at right. But I look at everything else around this team, it seems like at least the air it just seems like everything's been lifted, right? In my opinion.
I agree.
And I don't see anything else to derail this team from a drama standpoint now.
I don't either. That was a great development today. All right, we got much more to get to. United States women's team, there's a lot of chatter about this team. Whose fault is it? What happened? I definitely have some thoughts on this matter. We've got some other Rays stuff we got to get to. More college football fallout. We'll give you the latest on that. Lots more to get to.
I have to tell you too. I'll tease this too. I'm going to tell you the one reason the one reason why Wander Franco has turned things around for the Rays.
I am
There's
interested in that.
a secret key to this.
Brought to you by the Italiano Insurance Company. They are the best in the business. Great customer service. Just saved me $1,000 on my auto insurance premium. They can do that for you as well. 813-877-7799. Great folks over there. Back in 3. This is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 less after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa, and for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I work with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Extravaganza Productions Incorporated. They are the best. Whether you got a meeting, a charity event that you got coming up, a big birthday party you want to produce, they will do it professionally and at a great cost and give you great creativity as well. In fact, they will give you a free creative session with them. Just go to the website, EPI, that's extravaganzaproductions.com, and set up your free creative. They'll give you a little tour of their warehouse, which is worth it, just that, with all the props they have in their huge warehouse. You can come up with a theme, and you can have a great time doing it and produce it in a professional way. They are the best in the business, from big events to small. They do it all. Extravaganza Productions. Give them a call over there. Tell them JP sent you. All right, I wanted to get to some of the Rondé stuff here. Before we get into that, because we were just talking about this text from Alexi Lawless, or a tweet that he put up there. Why don't you read that tweet, because I think it's a good preface for what I'm about to say.
All right, so this was Alexi Lawless yesterday after the loss.
And if you don't know, men's national team captain, many, many years, one of the leading voices of not only world soccer, but especially national team soccer.
Don't kill the messenger. This U.S. women's national team is polarizing. Politics, causes, stances, and behavior have made this team unlikable to a portion of America. This team has built its brand and has derived its power from being the best/winning. If that goes away, they risk becoming irrelevant.
100% true. 100% true. And I know a lot of people want to ignore the politics of this, and if I had my druthers, I would keep politics out of sports all the time. But that is not the real world that we live in, and to ignore it is ignorant, quite frankly. This is obviously something that was part of this team. And from a tactical and talent standpoint, to think that Megan Rapinoe belonged on that field with the other talent, I would say that's wrong. And I would also say that in judging from comments from team members that have played for this team for many, many years and no longer are, there was definitely a rift on this team between the more socially active players and the ones that just wanted to play soccer. I don't think there's any question that this idea to keep the older guard around with the younger guard was a disaster. And very much so from a tactical standpoint, to say that politics did not hurt this team is, I think, again, as Alexi said, it's evident. You don't have a fall off this dramatic and say it had nothing to do with it, that it was just on the field stuff. The rest of the world is catching up. That's true. You didn't score for 256 minutes. You beat Vietnam, and not very well. This was a dreadful performance. There was no cohesion to this team. The coaching staff was over their skis. And if there are certain players and groups on the team that don't get along with the others, or younger players that feel they were forced into some stances that they didn't necessarily agree with, it's hard to get chemistry going on the field.
Well, here's all to say.
And I think it very much played. I'm not rooting against them. I would never do that. But I would also never take a knee with a USA jersey on, like many of them did. And that's just the facts of it.
Okay, so here's you may very well be correct in your assumptions. That being said,
there were many facts in there.
Well,
some of them were assumptions, but there's a lot of facts.
We're not around this team. They're thousands of miles away in New Zealand.
Did they not take a knee?
No, I'm talking about that, but I don't know if that. I'm talking about to the performance of this tournament. I don't know the correlation. All I'm going to tell you is, at the end of the day, from what my eyes saw, is this was a changing of the guard in sense this World Cup with the roster that was assembled. You had a lot of the old guard still there. And by the way, I'm not here to tell you have to kick the old guard to the curb. They got the job done at 2 World Cups in a row.
Damn right.
Okay? For whatever you feel about Megan Rapinoe as a person and things like that, I know how you feel. I might even have some other opinions on it. She is one of the most talented players that this soccer federation has ever had. There is no debating that.
Not
and a
anymore.
very integral, I'm getting there, very integral part to the first 2 World Cups that they won.
100%. 100%.
And sometimes in sports, even if that talent has diminished, they get older, it's still hard to give them a nudge out the door, especially with her. Like, her personality I would say, is very dominant. And I think when you think of the team, you think of Megan Rapinoe. You think of her being, the leader of the team. There's something to be said about that. So I don't know if I would have necessarily left her off the squad going into the World Cup. I can tell you this. I wouldn't have played her as much as she featured because, again, she's older. The game is faster. It's nothing against her. It's just not. It's just the way it goes. I would have not have had her on the field as much as she was in the capacity that she was in. And I think it showed in her performance. It just wasn't up to par. And it's not just her. It's Alex Morgan. Everybody loves Alex Morgan. Okay, Again, she's up there on probably the Mount Rushmore, you can make an argument, of U.S. Women's National Team players. Her performance in this World Cup, I'm sorry, was just not up to par. It just was, and it pains me to say that because these are players we think fondly of.
I love them.
But their performance was not there, and it's proved to me that their days of being in the World Cup is probably over. And it's time for the new guard to take over a little bit, and we had a lot of young talent. You didn't get enough out of them. Sophia Smith was supposed to be her tournament.
Right.
Not going to throw dirt on her. She's a very young player. It's a tough situation to walk into. But they went 210 minutes without scoring a goal. The only game you won was against Vietnam, who probably wouldn't have even been in the World Cup if it wasn't for it being expanded to the 32 teams being.
Of course, yes.
Okay? And then the way it went down last night or early morning, whatever it was, in the game, listen, it was hard. It was cruel the way it ended.
Yeah.
I mean, Alyssa Nair makes the save, and I mean a millimeter, if that the ball crossed the line. That is a hard way to go out.
It is.
But listen,
if
two of your most
Portugal
senior
shot
players
was a millimeter to the left.
Right. It's a game of it. It's
how
sports goes.
They wouldn't even got out of their round.
It's how sports goes. Yes. So that's why it's hard to really go, oh, well, that was so lucky because, listen, you had opportunities. You could have done something and I know the coach, Vlatko, said after, we thought we flexed our muscles in this match and we deserved to win. Well, you didn't. You didn't score a goal. And at the end of the day, you got to put the ball in the back of the net. It didn't happen.
Right.
And I think he bears a lot of the blame. And if we're holding this team to the standards, number 1 team in the world and what they've done, this was a failure. This was a disaster. And I think first and foremost, the old guard, probably you won't see them again. I know this was it for Rapinoe, but as much as it pains me to say it, probably it for Alex Morgan as well. At least being a starter on this team.
Yeah.
At least being a starter on this team. But I think the head coach, I think the manager's got to go.
Oh, absolutely.
You cannot fail like this and go.
That's not even a question.
And when you don't win the group that you should have won, this is what happens. You got to play the number 3 team in the world in the round of 16, which is typically not what the U.S. plays in the round of 16.
Right.
It's just the way it happens.
Your own fault.
And the other things about it, and you mentioned a little bit, yes, the world has caught up to this team. It's not exactly the U.S.'s fault necessarily. It's just, this country gets a lot of flack, I think, for the treatment of women, and I'm not saying we're perfect. I don't think anybody's perfect. But I think you would agree this country came around a lot faster than a lot of other countries in regards to accepting women's sports.
Of course.
And investing in
We
it.
lead the world in that. And by the way, 90% of the players in the World Cup play in college or played in college in the United States.
Right. So my point with saying that is I think as time has gone on, other countries have started to invest a little bit, and you're seeing their generation, their best generation has come up now, and it coincided again with the changing of the guard. This was right place, right time for the rest of the world to take advantage. And the U.S., I don't want to say they were a sitting duck, but they just were kind of, I think, a victim of the circumstances. Still got to play better.
I would agree with that.
And the standards are held.
I would agree with that.
But that's kind of the way I summed it up a little bit. And yes, to what Alexi Lawless said, again, regardless of how I feel about it, I think if you're being objective, you have to acknowledge that everything that's happened in the last 5 years, yes, a portion of America did turn off the U.S. women's national team, And quite frankly, we're openly rooting against them, I would say. And I don't agree with that.
And I will say this, and I agree, and I've said this about Colin Kaepernick. I'll say it about Megan Rapinoe. She absolutely has the right to take a knee, and that's what's great about our country. But you also are going to deal with the fallout of that. And in certain situations, I just can't stomach that. If you're playing for a national team,
I think
you're given the opportunity, you should at least have the respect in that moment to respect your national anthem that gives you that.
Yeah,
right,
I was going to say,
and use your platform in other ways to get your point across.
I was going to say, I'm not. You know me. I don't like getting into these issues.
Right.
But I will say, from my point of view, I have no problem if you want to do that in the NFL or something like that. But when you put on that jersey and you put on that crest, and these players talk a lot about how they're so proud of putting on the crest, but then to do what they did years ago, that didn't sit well with me because it was on the national stage and you were representing the country. That's what bothered me in particular. Did it make me openly root against them? Hell no. Okay, I woke up early in the morning. I was debating if I wanted to just because it was so early. I woke up early in the morning that day and watched the entire game.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to root on this team. Because I think the U.S. women's national team at points throughout their run here has been one of the teams that we've generally rallied around and we've kind of hugged around and we all watch it and we get into soccer for the month that it's going on and everything.
Right, love it, absolutely love it. But I would be lying if I said it didn't take some of my enjoyment out of it. I would be lying because I think the way Megan especially went about her business, and by the way, for the equal pay, for the equal eyeballs that you brought and the equal income that you brought, absolutely, for that. I'm not against that. Her right to take a knee, fine. But so many of her comments and the way that she's handled herself has been, racist comments that she's made, horrible things that she's said. And given the quotes from other girls that have played with her, and then she's just, then they've gotten destroyed for what they said for them. She can have her opinion to be loud as obnoxious as she wants. But if anybody else has a different opinion against her, like Lexi Lawless, like Carly Lloyd, like everybody, you get buried. You don't know what the F you're talking about because you don't want to criticize the golden child of what she stands for. That's not fair. And I think she took it over the top. This team was not together. It was divided. And a lot of it had to be the iron hand that she has held over this team for at least the last 3 years. And I think, and when she's gone, I think things will rapidly improve. So I say this with, I'm not against what she did in terms of her right to do it and do so. I think her methods were way over the top. Way over the top. There's a measurement to it. And I think that caused a lot of the issues of this team. That's just my personal.
And I hate the fact that it divided so many people in the country. Yeah. And I mean that in everything.
I think you could have done it in a certain way that didn't happen.
And I mean that not just if it was her cause. If you were on the other side of the spectrum and you were running your mouth about other things, I feel the same exact way. I don't like it anywhere. I don't care if you have the opinion and you're on the right side of the social issues aspects or you're on the left side of it. I don't really give a damn. I don't like hearing it regardless in my sports.
Like, again,
I just don't.
If I could take it all out of politics out of sports, if I could wave a magic wand,
because
I'll be the first one to sign up.
Because regardless of how that person feels and how they think their message is coming about, when you get into politics, and this is why I stay the hell away from it, when you do it, in my opinion, you cut everything down the middle. You cut everything down the middle, and in the world you live in now, there are a lot of people who can't acknowledge other people's beliefs and still like that person.
Right, which is ridiculous.
Or whatever. Okay, so that's why my take has always been just to stay clear of it, don't worry about it, move on, and keep it sports. And I wish sports were still like that, and I think to an extent we've gotten better of, living with it a little bit, right? But again, it does make me sad that a lot of the team kind of deal with the fact that everything was divided.
Yeah.
And maybe it wasn't everybody that was trying to put these messages out there, but it happened.
And I'll say this: some of the criticism of Megan Rapinoe is way over the top. And
yes.
the outward disgust and rooting against the team, I'm not okay with that.
Right.
I'm not okay with that at all. So again, there are levels and there's nuance to all of this. Don't if you say anything negative about Megan Rapinoe, I'm sure there's some people out there go, "Oh, JP, he hates Megan Rapinoe, and it was all against it. He was rooting against the team." That's bullshit. No, there's certain things that she has done, as I just outlined, that where I think were way over the top. She could have done exactly what she's done and the positive things that have happened from her leadership, the equal pay and some of the other things, without being so ridiculously and offensive to a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, and this comes with being the leader and the most senior player on the team. I get it. But a lot of people are pointing to the fact, well, what did she contribute here? And I'm here to tell you she shouldn't have been out there in the first place, and that's not her fault. I think that's on the coach.
Yes.
First and foremost.
Yes. Because
but a lot of people,
had they sat her down, the cacophony of voices that would have been amplified by our media. Oh, she stood up as a courageous woman, and what did they do to her? They sat her down. No, they sat her down because she couldn't play anymore at that level.
At the level to be a contributor.
Right. So and you know that. That's the only reason.
So
if
she
misses. Sat her down, it would have been an absolute
right. So she
shitstorm.
she misses a penalty, and by the way, she hasn't missed a penalty going back to 2018. This is something that does not happen, and that's why they had this reaction. And by the way, fools out there who are like, "Oh, did you see her? She was laughing after she missed a penalty kick." Come on, people, don't take that the wrong way. She was laughing because she could not believe in that moment of what just happened. She just missed. She said it was like a sick joke, I think is the word she said. Yeah. Okay? So please, people, stop playing that highlight and putting everything on her. Okay? There's 25 other people on that team that had to perform. She wasn't the only one that missed a penalty kick.
That's right.
Kelly O'Hara, another one of the more senior players, a part of these World Cup winning teams, guess what? She missed a penalty too. And you had 210 minutes where you did nothing offensively.
Exactly.
End of story. It's not all on Megan Rapinoe. I know she's going to be the face of this whole thing, but it's not just her. The whole team failed. End of story.
It's sad. It's sad. The whole damn thing was sad. All right, let's how many more? We get one more break we need to hit?
Yeah, we do, because we're a little behind today on breaks.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and do the Rondé clip right now then. Or should we hit the break?
We'll hit the break and come back.
All right, hit the break, and we'll come back, and we'll do this Rondé clip. There's a couple things in there that I really wanted to touch on. What a great speech he made, and one of the greatest eras of Buccaneer football. In my mind, the greatest era. The greatest era of Buck football now has 5 Hall of Famers. That's impressive and obviously deserved. We're brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. Hey, folks, if you've got some flatware laying around, any type of silver or gold bullion, coins or anything, now is a great time to get in there and get cash for them. They will give you the best and the most for it. Get a great deal. Gather it all up. Just bring it down there. They accept things that most other people do not. So bring it all down there and see what you can get out of it. It's just sitting around your house, right? The Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Almerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Back in 3. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by. Never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. Ladies and gentlemen, are you looking to lose weight or just lean up for bathing suit season where there are so many diets and chiropractors and weight loss clinics out there? You don't know where to start, right? We'll start at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, PA, and his professional staff will devise a personal plan for you that gets results and will help you keep the weight off. Everybody metabolizes food and supplements differently. Many of these other approaches are designed for the masses. So how's that going to work for you specifically? It's not. Chris will spend one-on-one time with you to find out what works best for you so the weight comes off safely without the use of harmful drugs and side effects. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation. Home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, back. We are here. Thank you guys so much for joining us, whether you're joining us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, at fanstreamsports.com, the JPPetersonShow.com, RHS-TV, where we are right now in our studios here in St. Petersburg. It's a great way to watch a show. Download the RHS-TV app. That app kicks ass, just being quite honest.
And the FanStream Sports app as well.
Yes, FanStream Sports app. Download that app and just tap that app, and the show will start right up for you. Sometimes it takes about 10, 15 seconds to load because we do 2 hours every day. But just be patient, and it'll pop right up, and then you can fast forward and go wherever you want. And real easy to listen to the show. So we thank you guys for joining us as football season picks up. We're getting bigger numbers and bigger numbers. And if you want to advertise on the show, just email me, jp@thejppetersonshow.com. Pretty simple, jp@thejppetersonshow.com. We'll get you signed up. We got some new advertisers coming on board for football season. Excited about that. So if you want to be part of the show, support what we do, because I think we're an independent voice that you won't hear a lot of what we talk about in other places. In fact, I know that because we are an independent voice. We're not corporate controlled, but also we need your support. So we'd love to get that support in any way you want to do it. Just email me, jp@thejppetersonshow.com. We get some pay link on here. Can we get a pay link on here where people can tip us? There's something like that on YouTube, right? So we got to get one of those things, so you guys can tip us if you like our takes. That would be nice. Or just Venmo me, man. You can do that. That's what I did to the bartender at Rondé's thing. Is nobody carries cash anymore, right? I don't carry cash anymore. And I'm like, hey man, he's serving us drinks all night. I'm like, dude, you've been great. Let me Venmo you. He's like, yeah, right here on my phone, right on the. Get the barcode and off you go. That's great. I love that part about it. So we should put our little
oh my goodness, hold on.
Our little what do you call it? Not the barcode,
the QR code?
QR code, yeah.
This just reminds me real quick of something that happened at the concert on Saturday. I was buying it, and you know how I feel about this whole thing where you tap the cards and all that? I don't understand it. I think it's ridiculous.
You don't understand that?
I've never.
I pay with my phone all the time now. I used to have the card on them, but I don't even need a card anymore. You just pay with your phone.
Right. So I'm at the concert and I'm buying a beer at one of the vendors.
Right.
I told the guy, I was like, he turned the thing in front of me and I'm like, do you have a chip anywhere? And he goes, oh, you just tap it. And I said, what? And he's like, you just tap your card. And I looked at my card and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And Casey's like, you just tap it.
Just hold it up there, dude.
And so I did it, and all of a sudden it worked. And I said, "That's it." And he goes, "That's it." And I said, I've never tapped it before. And he goes, "Oh, well, now you have. You're a tapper." And I'm like, I walked away.
You looked at Casey and went, "Sorry to hear that."
I walked away, and I was like, the way I said that came off really, really odd.
It did.
When I said, yeah, I've never tapped it before. And the guy was like, well, now you say you can. And I was like, my brain, I was like, I cannot believe I said it like that.
The worst part about this, and everybody will agree with me, and look, I love to support hardworking people. I really do. But some of this is getting ridiculous. I'm not tipping the person at 7-Eleven who's ringing me up. You know, now they turned the thing around.
Oh my goodness!
And you have to. I'm tipping you 15% because I just went
every
and got
time.
my
Every
my
time
drink,
I go to every
and
time
I brought
I
it to the, you did nothing but stand there. Why am I tipping? And 20, you tip 20% for a waiter that waits on you, goes back and forth to the kitchen, brings you the 12 sodas you're gonna have. You know, and like even when you do buffet,
it's like even when I go through
buffet,
the
I'm not giving you 20%.
right. Like even when I go through like the drive-through, like Kawa Coffee does this actually, and this is why I don't go there as much. I go through the drive-through, and they flat out ask you, "Would you like to leave a tip?" And, like through the drive-through, and I've never like you tip over the drive-through since when?
Not anymore.
But I feel bad because I'm like they're like, "Would you like to leave a tip?" And I'm just like,
yeah, but it's like when you're giving me some service, that's a service. That's a tip is for service. You're doing your job.
Like all I did was order all I get is like a black coffee. You're just literally getting it like you're hitting a button and letting it come out of this thing.
You're not doing anything.
Like why do I?
You get paid for that.
Like no offense, like why do I need to leave a tip for that?
The tips are supposed to be when you give great service. Like, did you give great service? Did you tell me a joke over the intercom? Did you greet me with a? Normally it's like, now it's automated. Now it's all automated. They don't even greet you anymore. So yeah, F that. Golly, I'm leaving you a tip for what'd you do? That's what I'm gonna start saying. They say, "Would you like to leave a tip? Did you do anything to get a tip?" How about you say that? I said, "I would love to. What did you do what did you do above and beyond that you deserve a tip?" Then you're even more of a jerk.
And also
right?
too, I adjust. Just because you waited on me doesn't mean I'm automatically giving 20% either.
Right, exactly.
Like I
you earned the 20%.
Yeah, like I see how you did as a waiter/waitress, and I adjust. Like I went out to get lunch before the concert, and the lady, I kept saying to Casey, I said, "This waitress looks like she's like in a bad mood."
Yeah.
Like no smile.
Yeah.
Just very like short with you and everything. I'm just like came by like just to drop the food off and give me one round of drink, and I'm like, I don't think you earned 20% here.
No, if it's bad service or not enjoyable, you get 15. You're still going to get 15.
Yeah.
But if you do just an average job, I'm going to give you 20.
Right.
If you do a great job, I'm going to give you 25 or more.
Yeah, I don't automatically have to do 20 everywhere I go.
But that's what's expected now. But when you don't do anything, like even now, like if you pour me a beer at the Bucs game and it's $20, so now I have to tip you 20% on $20. You poured a beer and now you got $3 for that? $2? What? $3? No.
I usually just leave like $1.
For every drink I get, I give $1.
Yeah.
Like
that's like my rule of thumb too.
Just because you have outrageous prices doesn't mean I have to trip by percentage. Even give so you get $3 for 3 beers that you just poured. I mean, I think we've done well here.
Yeah.
I didn't give you 20%, but you've done well. So.
Yeah. By the way, $20 for a Miller Lite at Raymond James. What are we doing, man? What are we doing? $20.
Bending over and taking it up. That's what you're doing. All right, let's get to the Rondé stuff. Can we please? What a tremendous speech, and boy, it was hot out there. It was hot, but it wasn't Florida hot. Thank God. It was like mid 80s, not too bad. You could go like in the back and get a little shade, and which was kind of cool because I went back there and you're seeing all these other Hall of Famers. I was chatting with different people back there. I'll tell you more about that. But let's get to Rondé. This was a portion of his speech at Canton. Football heaven. God, so awesome to see him up there. So rightly deserved. And he was angry. There was a little Michael Jordan tinge to this, wasn't there?
A little bit.
Yeah. Still angry.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey because it's not a unique journey. I'm not going to stand up here today and give you ordinary because I was not an ordinary cornerback. I stand here amongst these legends of the game, remembering a time when I was never imagined to be a Pro Football Hall of Famer. My rookie year, hell, my second year in league, I was literally just hoping Rich McKay wasn't going to cut me. Come a long way in 26 years. I was not Darrelle Revis. Trust me, I was not that guy. But not all of us are anointed, right? Or can't miss prospects proclaimed to be future Hall of Famers on day ones of our career. In fact, most guys are quietly fighting that little crisis of confidence, wondering if you're good enough. And there was plenty of doubt about me. Now that I'm here, I think I owe a very small thanks to those of you, for whatever reasons, questioned me, either undervalued, underestimated, underappreciated me. It gave me the motivation to not only outwork my peers, but to be better than the expectations of me. So I set out to become uncommon. I never set out to be one of the best 371 players in professional football. If anything, I wanted to do things that others either could not or would not do. That defined my career. And amongst my peers, I really felt like I had to do more to be equal.
Yep.
Do uncommon things. Find legendary. Because let's face it, this is what gets me every time. I was, what? Too small, too slow, just a system cornerback. Somebody still needs to tell me what that is because I don't know. It's easy to be marginalized when you're surrounded by Hall of Fame defenders. Sapp, Brooks, Lynch, our man Simeon Rice, they all grabbed a lot of headlines. And early in my career, I was simply overlooked. And again, it was the doubt that most bothered me. But it also provided me that fuel, and it sent me to work angry. I was never going to be satisfied just being a guy. I wanted to prove everyone wrong. And ordinary was not an option. See, in my family, legendary is a standard. Tiki, certainly not your ordinary running back. New York Giants all-time leading rusher, the only man in NFL history, according to Kenny Albert, to rush for 10,000 yards, catch 5,000 yards worth of passes, and return 1,000 yards as well.
True.
Pretty awesome, Tiki, and spectacularly, too.
Maybe he should be in the Hall of
Without him, I wouldn't have had that daily reminder to chase greatness. And if you don't remember anything else I say today, remember this. I am here because of my brother.
Yep.
The inherent competition, the easy motivation to match accomplishments, and the unwavering, unconditional support that only a twin can know. You simply cannot tell my story without telling our story. We shared a lot. A womb, of course, an alma mater, children's books, Pro Bowls and All Pros. I've got more of those, of course. The lows and highs of this profession, but man, we had a fabulous football life. However, the single biggest reason I'm standing here right now is that little 5'0" lady sitting in the front row. Geraldine Brickhouse Barber Hale. Everything I learned in life, one way or another, came from her. To keep going, to don't quit, persevere. She's a single parent with too much to do and not enough time to do it, working multiple jobs. But she possessed this self-instilled ability to force her will on her situation and not only succeed, but find a way to thrive. I've heard that phrase a lot in my life, force your will on your opponent, from a lot of coaches. But my mom showed me how to do this first. We were 19 years old, trying to find our way in college and on the football field when we learned that she was well on her way to beating breast cancer almost a year before we were even aware she was diagnosed. She never made her adversity our burden, and I love you for that, Mom. My mom, she's kind of a badass. I remember thinking at the time, too, if she could do that, what couldn't I do? Mom, you always told us to play proud, right? And I know you're proud right now. Tiki and I receive that same text every single Sunday. Play proud. I'm proud of being uncommon and doing uncommon things, reinventing what it means to play cornerback in the NFL. But y'all know I am most proud to call Geraldine Brickhouse Barber Hale my mom.
Amen. What a speech. I get emotional now just even remembering it. It was a tremendous speech, and it really encapsulated his career so very, very well. I think the best speech of the weekend. I think quite easily. But what a grouping it was. You know, even going back in the back area and seeing some of the old Buccaneers that were there, chatting with them, and the Glazers, and so many, and fans, you know, just fans that came there for Rondé. It was a special day, and doing it with my son, and then the post game party was just, Fantastic.
Yeah, and I just love too. Like, I think he said it there at some point. There's only 23 corners in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
only 23. And I think Rondé's name has always kind of gone untalked about. I think when you think of the great corners in the game, like even his career, like he was probably overshadowed by He was overshadowed by Champ Bailey. He was overshadowed by Charles Woodson. Some of these guys who maybe played in bigger markets or were larger personalities, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, bigger college players.
Right, and they fit the bill of what a cornerback looks like and did, the typical things. But as he said over and over, it's about being unordinary, uncommon is what got him to the dance, to the point where that position is so important now, and you see teams always looking to find that slot corner, that nickel corner. And it's a very hard position to find, and I think, as he said, and I think everybody would agree, there's nobody in the game that's ever done it at that level.
Well, there's a lot of different names for this. Like when I was growing up, it was the Bandit. It was, the Bear. They would call it by the mascot. It was that, it was, you weren't a corner, you weren't a safety, you were sometimes an outside linebacker. You were, in the Miami Dolphins defense, it was the 53 defense. It was that extra guy that you needed to be versatile and be able to do a lot of things. And that's why that line, I did things that others would not and could not do, or could not and would not do. And that's true. He could go out and cover Megatron on the outside, and then also cover a huge tight end on the inside and stay in there and run support. He could cover a back out of the backfield. He could blitz. He was a great blitzer, right? The only one with 48 career interceptions, 27 sacks. Only 20 players that's ever done it. The touchdowns. Only 3 other players, non-offensive players, have more touchdowns than them, and they were all primary returners. I mean, those are big games. His tackles for loss, 88 tackles for loss, dwarf any of these other corners in the league, in the Hall of Fame. Dwarf. We put the numbers up against Rivas. So, and now in the modern game, it's positionless. Let's just be honest on defense now. These are all positionless places, right? Sometimes you only have one cover corner in defenses. The other 2 guys are more hybrids. Sometimes you have 3 safeties. Sometimes you have 2 defensive linemen. Everybody else rushes the passer. So this whole idea of how many corners are in the game and how many good, even comparing him with Darrelle Revis is folly, because they really played a totally different position.
Right.
They really did. And so I don't want to diminish his because especially the corners, if you're great,
and listen,
nobody throws that.
I was going to say, there's a reason why too. Like Revis's numbers are nowhere near there.
It's
because
28 picks.
Yeah, Revis Island was a real thing.
Yeah.
Nobody threw towards the guy.
Yeah. So how are you going to build up numbers when you just cut off half the field?
Right. He's a guy that you had to watch the tape and all that to see his greatness.
Right. So I think a lot of that gets overblown, but the sheer production that Rondé put out there is undeniable.
Yeah.
The numbers are undeniable, and they dwarf most everybody other defender in the Hall of Fame.
And God bless him for throwing Simeon Rice's name out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
My goodness. You talk.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more times I could say it. A career, you talk about forgotten for how great he was. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I keep saying, I'm like, DeMarcus Ware's in the Hall of Fame. That's great. But man, damn if Simeon wasn't identical.
Yeah, and if you go back and watch that Super Bowl of all the interceptions, most of them were caused by Simeon. 5 interceptions, most of them was Simeon breathing down Rich Gannon's
Yeah,
neck.
as important to that team as anybody.
Yeah, he dominated that game defensively. I mean, you could have, I love the fact that Dexter Jackson got the MVP, and I'm glad it was a defensive player, but you could have given it to Simeon, you could have given it to Brooks.
Dwight Smith.
Dwight, you could have given it, to every, and it's great. It went to and Dwight, by the way, Dexter would be the first one to tell you that. It was everybody. It was a team effort. But that team now is solidified in the Hall of Fame. 4 players, 1 coach in Tony Dungy. Only 1 Super Bowl, which is, sad a little bit.
Not to their fault.
No. That as Chris Berman mentioned, they almost beat the Rams 6-5 in the championship game, and should have. Right. So what a weekend! What a great and I love that he says I don't have to be an angry worker any longer, and I think that's great because he's your football journey is over, my friend. You did it like nobody else. You were uncommon. You were extraordinary. You were not ordinary. You were one of one. You were one of one.
So last thing before we go, I said I was going to mention it, the key to Wander Franco's turnaround.
Yes, good tease.
Which, by the way, I'm just going to preface this. Remember I said I wanted more. Wander Franco was leaving me wanting a little bit more from what he is. and he was going through that slump and everything after everything that happened. He had a hell of a road trip. Probably the best player on this team the entire road trip.
Yeah,
and in those 9 games, he hit 389 with 4 home runs, and his defense, my God, insanity. He does not play defense like a guy who we thought was going to have to like not play shortstop anymore. Remember all those discussions?
Yes.
So he doesn't play like that. Hell of a talent. But you want to know what turned it around?
What was it?
Before this road trip, or the first game they were in Houston, rather, he met up with a certain person.
Who?
Lil Baby. Have you seen this?
No, I have not.
There's the picture of him posing with Lil Baby in Houston. And ever since then, Wander Franco has been on a heater. So I'm here to tell you the key to Wander Franco's success is due to rapper, recording artist Lil Baby.
Who knew?
Who knew? That's all it took.
What do you think? What do you think he whispered in his ear? What did Lil Baby tell him? You get to recall a lyric at this point and like throw it out there.
You know, I wish I had any lyrics to give you. Might have to hit up some of my friends for those.
Yes.
I'm not a Lil Baby listener,
Yeah.
if you haven't figured it out.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it was, but that interaction, and now I'm looking at Randy, and I'm like, okay, any rappers that Randy loves that we can get him in the same building with to turn one around?
Let's go, whatever it takes.
But, yeah, great road trip for Wander Franco. Glad to see he's back locked in. Brandon Lau hitting home runs all over the park yesterday. Yandy Diaz, who's better than Paul Goldschmidt, end of story. Continuing to do his thing.
You can have both.
Yeah, whatever.
Could've had both.
Well, you have Yandy Diaz, and he's fantastic. So goodwill for the Rays, and now you get the Deadwood Cardinals coming into town.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah. Hey, Goldschmidt's here. If he hits like 4 home runs in the Trop.
Oh, my gosh, you're going to be insufferable.
People lose their minds. All right, Art, thanks to everybody who listened today and watched. My thanks to Rondé Barber for including, and Claudia for including myself and my son in this weekend's ceremony. I will never, ever forget it. This is one of the greatest nights of my life, so thank you so much. And we will go Rays, and we will see you tomorrow.